Hi, and welcome everyone. It's Lavender Sky Panther. It's Friday, April 7th, 2023, and we're going to do a little reading today. Started off very interesting already in my morning, and it brought in the energies of the Norse and the Nordic and, all that good stuff. Pretty heavy energies, starting off with the music that I heard on my alarm clock this morning. I'll get to that in a second. But so I've got laid out a little bit of a Norse scene. Got a little Viking longboat incense burner, Viking boat in the back. I also put a book out here called The Smoky God, or Voyage to the Inner World. That's a very interesting book. It's actually recorded by Willis George Emerson, and the story itself is told by Olaf Jansen. So I highly recommend that. It's a quick little read, about 60 pages, very easy, interesting read. And I believe you can find it even for free online still somewhere. Somebody read it out loud if you like. Anyway, that's a recommendation. Then we also have the runes here. And for the 3 token piles today, we do have the wooden runes wanted to come back out again. We've got some jumbo gems, looks like kind of loot from the ship maybe. And then we have the 3rd pile is the romance angel cards in their own little bag as well. So the cards are going to vary per pile from I think 7 or 8, in each one, depending on what wanted to come out. So go ahead and choose your pile based on those tokens, the runes, the gems, or the cards. And just know that probably I will leave them facing up after I read through a section, through a grouping. And I probably will skip, hop, and jump all over across each pile. So actually I say pick one, but in the end I might be referencing all of them. So just see what works for you, okay? And I am going to have to kind of fly through this a little quicker than I'd like, just because I only have a very narrow window to record this right now. So anyway, but let's get into it and see what we can do. So we've got right now Page of Fire, outgoing, creative, confident, mischievous or mischievous. And then we have news of an exciting new endeavor. Use your originality and ingenuity. And this card is really beautiful. We could go on and on about all the symbolism. But for right now, I just want to comment on power. We've got confidence, and that also implies power and poise in that power, centering yourself in that stability, in that total confidence and knowing. And I like the way we've got 2 different representations of that power. We've got this dragon, sitting there very confident. Doesn't even need to present fire or roar. It just opens those wings and just says, here I am, and man, I own it. I'm powerful, but I don't need to flaunt it other than just knowing who I am. And then we've got this little sorceress here. I just say little by comparison to the dragon. And she just, has hey, I do this all day, every day expression on her face. And here she is wielding, the power of the phoenix and fire, just with maybe a little wand or a little basic stick, so very effortless, just like drawing your name on a piece of paper. It's like, okay, so what? I can do this. So again, I like the juxtaposition of just really kind of a regal, excuse me, presence and power that just is, it doesn't have to really announce itself. It just shows up. And I also like so that can be a very kind of strong dominance, feeling kind of energy. And maybe you want to equate it to the masculine energy. And then we've got the feminine energy, which just comes in and says, hey, I've been there, done that, done everything in the world, and I own myself and my power too, and I'm just going to show up. But it's a gentle power, each equally effective in their own right. And there are times to demonstrate or wield both. Okay, and then news of an exciting new endeavor. Use your originality and ingenuity. I think we'll look at some of the other cards that might lend a little more color or flavor to what that message is, okay? Oh, and while I'm flipping all the cards over, I'll just say, yeah, I woke up to heavy energy. I mentioned in a previous show, I don't like to wake up to a buzzer or any ring things on the phone, electronic. I like to hear music. So what randomly came up on whatever radio station it was, they played 2 songs. The first one I heard, I'm like, well, geez, I don't really want to hear that. But it was Staying Alive from, that was released December 15th, 1977. I looked it up. But the only 2 lines I caught of that song were, life going nowhere, somebody help me, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So I hit the snooze button. I didn't want to really hear the rest of that. And then what came on after the snooze ran out, it came to REM, and this is from 1987. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. So I'm like, well, geez, man, what are you trying to tell me here, universe, God, spirit, what's going on? These seem pretty heavy songs. Well, what happened was that the second song, It's the End of the World as We Know It and I Feel Fine, I looked up the lyrics, and I invite you to do the same. Of course, it's a catchy song that rattles off a lot, in the patterning and the pacing of the song. So the cadence of the song. So I invite you to look at each of those words, because it's a very foretelling of what's going on now, what went on September 11th, 2001, and what's been going on with the injections and what's going on even beyond that. So you might want to check that out. I never even bothered to really listen to the lyrics. And that was a real eye-opener. Okay, so I know I paused quite a bit on that, but it's important, I think, for you to check it out. So anyway, with those kind of more heavier energies, maybe I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to turn that around. So even though that also led me to do the Runic and then the Norse, the Runic tarot energies here, I'm also lightening it up with some of the angel cards. All right, so but for now, let's get to the Nordic ones. So we have, what is this, the Emperor. So of course we have Thor sitting there, and he's got, the lightning going on. Of course, he's representing also that power, right? That really strong, dominant power, though. But yet he's cool, calm, and collected. He's not wielding his hammer or, doing any such things. He's just sitting there, like saying, bring it, So that's confidence, back to that first card for sure. He's got some, I think, skulls, ram's heads there, whatever. He's got his gauntlets, I think it is, on the wrists. I forget what you call those. And, his belt. And he's just totally confident. And even if he didn't have those things, he still would be. He doesn't need his little props, to just be that strength. I am going to read the rune on his belt, if hopefully it'll stay in focus, is Thurisas. And let me just read something from the book about that. And again, pardon the light source. I have to keep it on an angle here. Let me see if I can get to it and not move the camera around too crazy. Just want to read one quick thing. Let's see. I guess I didn't really need to read too much. It's just that that they're using this card to pair with the Emperor for Thor and that rune, because they're saying it's referring to Thor and the giants, which the giants are called the Thursas. And they, known for stomping around and creating quite a fuss and ruckus. So anyway, that's why they attribute it to Thor. So anyway, see if anything else, excuse me, I'll hold it up one more time. See if anything else on this card, speaks to you. It's number 4. And we're going to keep moving. But that is total confidence there. Oh, I just want to make a little joke out there. I think a lot of the women in the crowd will understand this, and no offense to the men. But man, is this guy, he's just full on man spreading in this card, right? And I don't know if you've been on a subway or a bus, or I've been in different public places sitting down and somebody does that, and you feel like, man, your territory is being encroached upon big time. So anyway, no offense to the men, but kindly don't do that when you're sitting next to women, especially if you don't know them. It's very off-putting and intimidating and a little over the top. All right, so now we're going to do the animal spirit cards. And this one is the owl. And of course, we've got all the, traditional meanings. I mean, many of them, most of you already know. You've got the wisdom, the wise old owl. Also, they've been associated of popping up whenever there are ET experiences. I covered that on another show, an earlier show of mine, actually, with the owl on the cover. I think I call it Sky Visitor. A very interesting story of what happened with my encounter with an unusual appearance of a pair of owls. But anyway, the only other thing this reminds me, back in the kind of the pantheon of the gods kind of thing, even though we'll skip over to the Greek and not the Norse, it reminds me of, I also covered this in that same show. So I'll just refer you to there. But I think it's Athena who has the symbol of the owl. She was reported to even shapeshift into it, and there's a whole story behind it. So I'll just refer you over to there, or feel free to look on your own, look that up, the backstory there. All right, we're going to go to the, what is this, the Magical Nordic, I always screw this up, Magical Nordic Tarot deck. And here we have 3 of Swords, and that is Affairs of the Heart. So I guess what I'll say about that, I'm not going to read this in the traditional way, is yes, we can feel like we've been stabbed when the heart is feeling low, if we're feeling betrayal, if we're feeling just despair, unrequited love, any number of ways that the heart can be hurt, because we're looking at these swords or daggers, whatever the other, swords. It's pretty intense. And I know other cards depict the heart behind it and just showing it being like totally, completely stabbed. But what I like to say, though, is that just as much as that can be brutal, most of us do have the strength and power and resolve to move through it, however ugly and unglamorous it may look like at the time. We do eventually come through. And the heart is never to be underestimated. Its strength, its power, and look at it. It pumps, or it keeps our body sustained. It's powerful, it pumps, but then you look inside and there are 4 chambers and they appear empty. So the core of that is something that goes to the realms of the unseen. And, how does that actually work? It's the spark of life in there somewhere, but not detectable to the visible eye. Usually you need some kind of equipment to read the electromagnetic pulses going on in there. So my point is that I'm just, because we have such dominant strength from Thor, we've got wisdom. It's kind of like somewhere deep programmed within us, our innate, I don't like to say programmed. It's like the seed, we come as we are. And even though we consciously, with the thinking mind, might not know what to do at times, if we just defer and move down into the heart space and let it handle things, we will, move through it. It's oftentimes that the mind and our perception is what gets us in trouble with the affairs of the heart in the first place, of how we're looking at things, or how we let, love, swiftly change into some type of addiction if we're not careful. And that part occurs up in the head, never in the heart. Okay, and I think we'll move on. Now we'll get to these angel-oriented cards. Now this one, it's a beautiful card. Let's see. It'll focus. Again, my apologies. If the camera's not focusing right, I think I dropped it one too many times. I may have to get another one. Anyway, this is acceptance. See yourself and others through the eyes of the angels with unconditional love and acceptance. And this way, you inspire and lift everyone to their highest potential. And that is pretty self-explanatory. But again, it just kind of takes this peace and poise, that we move through life. Just coming, she's showing up as she is. Sure, she's golden and has all her little angelic support around her. But she just is who she is. Her eyes are closed. She just kind of drifts in. Doesn't matter what situation she drops into, because we come equipped. All of us come equipped, whether we believe it or not, or remember it or not, with everything that we need in any given moment. Just show up and trust that whatever's meant to move through you will come out of your mouth and speaking it, or you'll know what right actions to take for you if you just allow that inner guidance to move through you, your higher self, your God connection, however you want to call it. All right, now we'll get to be willing. Sorry about that. Out of focus. Be willing to forgive. All right. And ask the angels to clear your mind and body of past pain in exchange for peacefulness. Now, I'm not a big one on angels, so to speak. I do believe in guides and angelic beings and this and that, but there are positive ones and there are fallen ones, so to speak. So you got to be careful of who you're talking to. So I don't feel comfortable really asking angels for anything. I defer to, personally, God, Jesus, also just any guides that are there for my highest and best good. So, obviously do what's right and feels comfortable to you on that. All right, now here we go. I just thought I should bring out these cards, although not all of them really resonate with me per se, but perhaps they do with you. Maybe they click with you. Sacral chakra. Okay, let's see what this one has to say. All right. You are highly sensitive to chemicals, additives, processed foods, and energies right now. Respect your sensitivities by avoiding harsh items, situations, and relationships. And I'm going to leave it at that right now. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we are going through this great awakening after a lot of us are coming through the realization that there was a great deception that has gone on for thousands upon thousands of years on our planet. And I'm just showing a little bit there. And so during this shift and this awakening, you might find that your body is changing because we are supposedly receiving a lot of cosmic light kind of energy upgrades, but it might not feel like it on the body. It actually might feel the opposite. You might be feeling burning joints, I get burning knee pains out of nowhere in both of them and have done nothing to physically to bring that on. You might feel really tired. You might feel like you can't eat anything. Like right now, there's very few things that I can even eat that my body feels good having, and it is raw, vegetables or fruits, nothing processed. And so you might find that without your knowing it consciously, your body's going to start to reject things little by little by little, until you get the hint to drop anything with chemicals or additives in it. Anyway, on the flip side, you might be feeling great, like this angel here, flying about or running about with flowers, and everything's great, blue skies. But I'm not feeling that. I wish I were. So I'm just saying, you can be, evolving and at a great level, you think, but not feel so great during the shift. All right, here we go. I'm going to keep going. Excuse me, I had some incense going and now I'm feeling it. I probably shouldn't burn any, just so I don't start coughing when I talk. Anyway, now let's look at the second grouping of the gems. We have Ace of Earth, and it's a beautiful card as well, kind of pan down. And we have the inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, important documents or contracts. And again, she's if you're just joining in on this one, I am going to cross-reference some other piles. So like pile 1, we had this too. Just an absolute knowing, a confidence and strength within. So, it's like, okay, show some important documents, or contracts, doesn't matter, because we come equipped with every kind of wisdom and knowledge that we need to process through any situation if we just follow our heart with what we know is right and dealing with those documents. Mark them up any which way you want. Just because you're presented with one doesn't mean you have to follow everything. Any document handed to you or contract handed to you is probably 99.9999% written in the favor of the writer. And so you take that document and you strike through it, initial it however you want. If you don't agree with it, strike it out. I do this all the time routinely with hospitals, with any type of official documents, because they are living documents. If anybody tries to say, no, you just have to sign it, I say, well, then what's the point of handing it to me? Of course I can mark it up. And, you just go from there. Again, stand in your truth and it all works out. Inflow of abundance, I find that funny because that happens to match this representation of an inflow of these gems, which of course these are plastic, but they represent precious gems. All right, let's keep going. I have to pick up the pace a little bit. All right, so now we have the Runic card, the Runic tarot card, and this one is Page of Swords. Okay, and I'm not reading it in the traditional way, but dang it if this girl does not own, this woman does not own her situation, but she's very calm. Look how light this sword appears to her. She's just kind of, it's touching the ground, she's just kind of holding it so it doesn't fall over. But when you look at her, man, she does not even need that sword to do what she needs to do and to go about her day. It's just a little prop, just, okay, it's nice, but, it could come or go. The clouds seem it seems a little cloudy and gray, but yet she's got the sun, shining and backing her up in particular. And you know what? It just looks like she can just break open those clouds just by looking at them if she doesn't want the gray clouds around. But there's also positive things to the gray clouds. It keeps things from getting too hot, too sunny, and there's power in that as well. All right, so let's move along. And let me not lose focus here. Our Ace of Earth theme. Hang on. Yeah, just the inflow of abundance. So in this case, I would just say, in this case, the abundance is the abundance of inner peace and calm and knowing that she owns who she is in any situation. That's what I'll say. Then our animal spirit is the fox. And the fox, I guess there's a lot we could say about it. I don't want to get into this too much, but of course, we've got the fox. I guess you could tie it into abundance, that the fox is crafty and clever enough to find whatever it needs. It's daring and bold and confident enough just to go into a chicken coop, take what it wants, right? And at the same time, there's a wisdom in those eyes. There's a little bit of mischievous in that face. It knows what and who it is as well. I'm just getting overwhelming, like so far pile 1, group 1, and now this one. It's just, here I am, man. I know who I am, and it is good. Like I have everything I need. I'm equipped, and that's abundance. When you know you come as you are to any room or situation, and you already have your God-given gifts, innate God-given gifts and talents within you, without opening one book and studying, without anything. Come as you are and shine and own it, and you've got the power of the entire universe within you with that God spark. All right, now we have 6, the Lovers. It's a beautiful card. Again, the magical Nordic tarot. And this whole deck, man, I think all of them have their eyes closed. They're very peaceful, have a very zen inner bliss thing going on. But here it's like, look at, they're not even looking at each other. They're just feeling each other. They're feeling the energy of love. We've got the swans at each side. They're each stable, though. They're on a piece of land, even though they're surrounded by water, representing the emotions. But they're stable. And then they are connected by that unseen force. And they have an abundance of that power. Their eyes are shut. They don't need to see it. They just know it and believe it and feel it. And that's a beautiful thing. But there's abundance of everything. Even an abundance in swans. We don't just have one, we have 2. Anyway, I'm going to keep moving. All right, now we have, in the angel side of things, little trio here with the light. Steady progress. We acknowledge you for the progress you've made in remembering love in your daily activities. We can clearly see the contribution you're making to the world through your thoughts, feelings, and actions of love. That's pretty self-explanatory. And the more that we do what we love, or can get to that or have that as our goal, that is the more exponential love and joy we spread in the world. Because then we can even love ourselves more. No one feels good doing something they don't want to do. It diminishes your light. And we need to come with full light, full power. So getting to that place is a very important goal if you're not there already. All right, now let's see. And then you can be and feel abundant when you know you love what you're doing. The monetary doesn't matter. It just matters that you feel good. And then that'll eventually come if it's not already there. Now, I've already mentioned that I'm not really big on the archangels. So this happens to be Raphael, known for being a healer. But again, I don't like the idea that there's rank and file. We all possess the ability to heal ourselves and others. And so I don't really subscribe to that whole archangel notion, but I know a lot of people do, and that's fine. It's just a personal preference. So I just want to show this card not for a specific person and identity, but just for what they represent. And here it's the healing coming from the hands. And I know for a fact we all have that power to let it shine through, let the cosmic, the power of the whole universe flow through us and shine out through the hands and heal. And sometimes it's that shining doesn't have to come out of the hands. It's just us entering a room and bringing that light. And you can heal people with a smile or a hug. I've seen that done as well and have experienced it myself. Okay, now one more. There's an extra card of one of these, and it says, release. Yeah, again, the focusing issue. Okay, release. And here we have a bunch of birds in the background, and she's even holding one, or one is resting on her. And this one is, again, I just said how I feel about the archangels. So, a lot of people subscribe to it. So work with Archangel Michael to let go of what no longer serves you or your purpose. So for me, this message is just let go of what no longer serves you or your purpose. And a lot of times too, without knowing it, we take on energies from other people. And I often like to say, take what is not mine, take it away. And similarly, yes, take what this no longer serves me, take it away. And whoever you're asking to take it away, to me, it's God. I just put it like in the God bucket. I imagine a little basket by a door, and I just say, this no longer serves me. Take it from me, And oftentimes that does bring immediate peace when you release it. It's also called casting the burden. There's a great book called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn from the 1920s. And in that book, she talks about casting the burden. And I don't know if she refers to Jesus taking it or whoever you feel connected to, whatever you call in your mind as the ultimate source and power of love and loving energies, to just take it away, or whatever kind of cleanup crew that works on behalf of God, or that God works through. You just imagine this kind of invisible force, even just whisking whatever your burdens and troubles are, throw them in the basket and imagine them just being magically lifted away. Sometimes it helps if you're feeling heavy. Okay, now let's move to our next grouping. And you know what? I'll go ahead and pull this card because it is what you chose. Oh my gosh, we had this last time and I thoroughly shuffled that deck, by the way. Religious factors. And she's got, I did talk about this before, so I'll make it quick. We've got the Ankh, we've got the Star of David, we've got a bunch of other, religious symbols here. Beautiful, radiant woman, and the crown chakra is all lit up nice and gold and beautiful. And it just says your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. And I guess that goes hand in hand because your beliefs really do kind of guide and create the world around you. To me at the top there, the big ring around, it's almost like the sun or a halo about the sun. It just, we really have so much power in our mind of what we're imagining, does create things. So we got to watch, where we're at with our religious beliefs and our spiritual path. Have an open mind and an open heart. That's all I'll say about that one. Okay, so now let's get into the actual cards, and bear with me. Hang on. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start with this one. Oh, you know what? You got 2 in your pile of these. So we have Justice, number 8. Very powerful card there. And we have fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. That is so important because once you do that, that sword actually should be straight up and down, like a conduit from straight up above all the heavenly realms, passing through your body, and the feet, should be like straight up and down, grounding into the earth. I know in this case it's also carefree and doesn't matter. Maybe that's not needed. But I just often envision just that sword being straight up in the air, catching lightning, catching the most powerful energy of the universe, and coursing through the body down into the earth and grounding. That's what I feel when if I walk into a room with adverse energies against me. I just ground in and connect with the God, the all there is, and go in like ain't nothing going to stop me. Stand up for your beliefs, absolutely. All right, let's see what's in this one. Queen of Water, tender-hearted, empathetic, patient, loving. And look at that huge portal opening up to the cosmos, and a happy portal, not a negative one. And we've got this glorious golden angel here. There's a lot going on here also symbolically. Oh, we've got these beautiful orcas surrounding. All right, let's see what this says. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. Well, that's the golden rule, isn't it? Do unto others as you would do unto yourself. It's also a nurturing kind of like a cosmic mother energy. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. It's the energy of being the complete divine feminine who is nurturing and caring for everyone. When you can start to recognize yourself and see yourself and everyone you encounter, and you can say, well, oh, that's the me that would be working here. Oh, that's the me that would be undergoing this. That's the me that might be disabled. That's the me that, might have this or this going on. That's the me that would have been born into this family. When you can start to see yourself in the face of everyone else and in the heart of everyone else, you reach this kind of cosmic level of being a nurturer, and kind of like looking at everyone as your own children is the absolute kind of God, being in the God-centered place. It's a beautiful thing. And also being connected, obviously, with nature, and that, nature becomes your friend, or is always your friend, and not your adversary. Obviously orcas are known as killer whales, and they're not looking like that. They're very peaceful. They're beautiful beings, very intelligent beings. So anyway, also bringing in that loving and nurturing side, even though they also have the other power, they could use it the other way as well, as we all, but we can also choose when and where we're going to use it. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. And yeah, my apologies if the messages are all over the place, but actually a running theme in all 3 groups is power, and whether it's a dominating power or a gentle power, and when to use each one. Okay, here we have a number 7. It's an interesting scene. Let me see. Ooh, okay. Just taking a look here with you for the... okay, there's no note at the bottom. All right, so we've got this guy. He's got the higher ground. Now, I can't tell if these 2 over here know that they're about to be ambushed or not. Maybe you can. Doesn't look like they're quite aware of it. Okay, maybe they know danger is lurking, but they're not consciously aware of it yet. This guy looks full on ready to take on the world. He's got 3 swords, not just one, and he looks like he does this all day, every day, and takes pleasure in it. So I guess the little message here is, let me go back to our, well, we got, what do we have? Loving, nurturing, tender-hearted, and justice. What was this one again? Fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. So I'm not sure, what this guy is up to, if he's standing up for his beliefs or has been wronged, or is he's maybe trying to free a friend. It looks like this guy in the armor might be, it doesn't look like he has him as prisoner, though. I'm not exactly sure what the relationship is, but again, it looks like somebody is like ready to go, with dominant power. And over here, this guy on the left, he's got a couple of swords as well, but only two, not three. But looks like he's already coming equipped. That was also a theme in another grouping. He's coming as he is and is also equipped for any situation. So I don't sense, it kind of looks like he's also, the guy on the left is kind of smiling, almost ready for anything that comes his way. His arm is in the open position, so like he's open and ready, for anything as well. So I guess I just harken back to knowing your power, and there's times to use a dominant, forceful one to stand up for your rights and your beliefs. And there's a time just to be, cautiously looking around, but not dwelling on it, just knowing that you show up, you'll be ready to defend yourself and your rights as well. Yeah, that's all I'm getting on this. I'm sure there's better explanations here. Maybe you can find other meanings on your own in there as well. All right, let's go. I think I dwelt on that a little too long. Okay, now here is the animal spirit, and we've got the wolf. And the only thing I'm going to say about this is go look up, if you're not already familiar with it, is the Norse mythology of Fenrir, the wolf. That's a fascinating story, and it is a testament of faith and trust and betrayal. There's a lot of very fascinating things with that story, so do go look that up. I'm going to leave that right there. I got to cut it a little short on this pile. My apologies for that, but I have to keep moving time-wise. Okay. But it's a really great story. Oh, and I want to say, too, for anybody who is more into the Marvel comic movies, do look up Fenrir, look up all the Norse mythology in the movies with Loki and Thor and Odin and Hela. They call Hela as Hel, or Hel, yeah. That figure, they messed it up. They deliberately changed the roles of each of those gods or goddesses around. So do look up the Norse mythology, preferably like in a good book online. They kind of really give you just part information and even wrong information online. But look around and see which seems to be the most correct. Look at several sources and compare. But do look up Fenrir. I really love the story of Fenrir, so take a look. He's a gigantic wolf, enormous. Okay, then we have the Four of Cups and awareness. And I guess, that goes back to Fenrir, the story of Fenrir, if you look that up. But also here, I guess it ties into awareness and just kind of using your senses. I think back to this guy on the left, I think, he doesn't see the danger, or maybe it's just in jest, because this guy looks like also like that's a buddy and he's just going to mess with him, although he's drawing the sword, so probably not so much. But anyway, the guy doesn't seem to be sweating it on the left. He knows he's surrounded by danger, and he has a keen awareness about it. Okay. Fenrir had awareness, but then got a little duped in his story, so just a reminder to be aware of everything going on around you, and being aware in a sense of keying into your intuition. Okay, Four of Cups, what I just get here, it's a very balanced, very balanced card, symmetrically balanced. And, it's just saying that awareness, that balance to me is, again, when you can even close your eyes and key into your deepest intuition and find that peace of mind and balance amidst any apparent adversity or conflict. Okay, now let's look at one of the angel-oriented cards. You have this angel riding a dolphin. Joy. Joy is the highest energy of all. It's a magical sense that everything is possible. Joy springs from appreciating the gifts within each moment. Joy allows you to attract and create your present and future moments at their highest possible levels. Okay, and that's, I would just add, I don't need to add too much, but that just is it. When you're in that energy and in that state, it's just like everything flows, nothing's impossible. And that does beget more magical and good, highest version of yourself type situations. Okay. And also she's springing up out of water, and so she's not she's surrounded by it and aware of all of the emotional things, but she's not bogged down or tied to it or attached to anything too much. And even the dolphin, she can just hop on and hop off whenever she wants, and it's a very lighthearted, playful, and connected energy there. Really nice. All right, let's go here. Oh, and yeah, interesting how we have her. Sorry, let me come over here. We have her with the dolphin, and we have the angel with the orcas, right? So we've got our little sea theme with powerful but also very gentle beings. So we know what the orcas can do, and the dolphins, we all know too, that they're very gentle and loving and playful. But if they need to protect someone, their own or others, they're on the scene right away and can headbutt or otherwise, conquer even the meanest of sharks, because they, fiercely protect and are guardians as well. All right, now we have visualize success. And we've got this other angel with her blue wings, enjoying fruits of the forest. Okay, see yourself doing well in this situation and have faith in a positive outcome. So it's just an emphasis on, key into that positivity, success, joy, catch those vibes, ride that wave, and see more of that coming into your life. Envision it coming in. And even in moments of despair and you just feel like you cannot get there, allow yourself to daydream once in a while and kind of dream and envision, you in a better, scenario as much as you can. Take little field trips, into envisioning that, even if you're not feeling like it. And the more you do that little by little, you really firm up and get a clear, crystal clear view of being in a better place. And eventually it will show up. Maybe not in the exact same details. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But it will move you there. But you've got to have the patience and know that it might take a little time. Some people can get there quicker than others with what they envision. But just know it will come. All right, now, one more. All right, now we have Goddess. It's an interesting card here. Okay. Express your divine feminine energy, embracing its magical intuition and nurturing qualities. Absolutely. So we talked about that a little already. Here it looks like we have like a fairy-like angel energy going on here. And it looks like this one is playing a violin or mandolin, some type of instrument, viola. And they're coming in on these ships and these wooden longboat type ships. They've got the sun or the moon behind them. It's hard to tell in this one, the stars. But they have all the world and beyond. This is very ethereal, very dreamy. And it's just, again, we're talking about a kind of an energy and a power that can be very gentle and but absolutely magical. And again, the importance of going within and listening to the intuition and offering nurturing qualities whenever it's appropriate, whenever you can, when you show up into a room. All right, I think that's where we will leave things for now. Although something is saying somebody here does need one more romance angel card, even though I don't often use this deck. And since that was a repeat, let's just go for it. I will take this one. Make a mess. Why not? Okay, let me switch my hand on the phone here. Okay, what is this? Release your ex. Oh my. Okay, boy, this looks very dramatic. This looks very soap opera-like. Oh my goodness, is she in the throes of needing to release it? Okay, she's got this letter. Maybe she's reread a love letter from long ago. That thing looks like it could be like 20 years old even. And you know what? It's like, yes, sister, just let it go, right? Release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy. And, I'll just say, we are going through this shift and this great awakening. And I mentioned in a previous show, card reading, that you might find that a lot of old things, a lot of old emotions and people and places are going to flash up in your dream state, or, as you wake up, and you'll be thinking, well, gosh, I know I already did release my ex. And actually, I don't like the term ex. I would use like former partner or spouse or whatever, former somebody. But the point is that, instead of lamenting over, oh, I regret this, or if I had only done that, or why did they do that? Instead of focusing on all of that stuff, if it bubbles up, look instead to, wow, what did I gain from that situation? what was the positive? For some people, it may even just be that, wow, I had a child with them, and you know what? That was worth everything. So no matter what they betrayed or did, boy, you know what? I am grateful because I needed that person to create this specific being. And other than that, too, it's like, okay, wow, well, I did learn a lot through that relationship about not only the other person, but about myself. And one little note I'll leave on too is a lot of times it doesn't matter if it's a romantic relationship or a family member or whatever. It's just so easy when you're, together in the day to day, if you're living in the same place. It's easy to focus on flaws that you perceive as flaws or pet peeves and things like that. It's easy to go, oh, that person is such a blank, blank, blank. But the more you say that, you realize that your words have power and that you're kind of condemning them to only be that in your world. So it may seem difficult, but when you practice it, it does work. If you start to look at that other person and go, oh, that's kind of annoying. But then you go, but what is good about them? Oh, you know what? They do have a generous heart at times, or with these other people, even though I'm not feeling it. Or, oh, you know what? Look how they handled that. That's pretty admirable. Or, you know what? This is how it seems they're behaving now, but I'm sure, deep down within, this is what's going on. Or I'm going to look at the God spark within them, not the outer shell. There's so many ways to go about it. But the more that you see the positive or look for the positive or the potential, not that you have expectation on them, but just what you can see, the more you will bring that into your day to day. It's hard to do at times when you're first practicing it. But the more you practice it, I think you can see some magic in it. And not that it works all the time, and you've got to be strong and meet it in the right mindset and heart set. But if you can get there, it's something just fun to, not fun necessarily, but something good to play with and practice and see if it works. And if not, it's not going to harm anything. Okay, well, I did want to make this a more cohesive reading, but that is what it is. You know what? I don't want to end on that card though. I'm going to take one more, just for the heck of it. We'll do one more animal spirit. I'm feeling like it. Well, I probably should have stopped because now we have tarantula. I don't mean to spook anybody. I know some people are terrified of spiders. But you know what? Actually, I did have a little vision of talking about this flash through earlier before I even drew any of the cards. And I had a story. I guess I'm supposed to tell it. I know decades ago, a friend, we went to like an ice cream shop or something, and all of a sudden she froze in terror. Her face just went like you would think, a lion was about to strike us. And I said, hey, what's going on? She couldn't even talk. She was so gripped with fear. And then she barely uttered, like spider. And I didn't even see when I looked. And the floor was even like a terrazzo, patterning. You couldn't really see anything. But then finally I spotted this tiniest spider. I mean, it was tiny. I could barely see it. But she was an absolute terror over it. And she couldn't even like talk until I, got a little piece of paper. I'm like, okay, I see. I'm like, are you kidding? Because really it was so tiny. And then I realized, oh no, she really is mortally terrified here. So I went and got a little paper and released it outside and came back. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were joking. I really did. No, but I see how much it, got you. And that's just a lesson of how amazing it is. Look how much bigger we are than the tiniest spider. And even tarantulas, I know they're bigger and people get creeped out because the legs are a little furry and whatnot. But you see tons of people handling them. And again, if it emanates from you that you are calm and own your little inner power, but a total peace and not afraid or showing fear, they don't show the fear and they're not going to react in a weird way. So again, everything like starts and ends with us, what we're projecting out there. And the tarantula, yeah, it can look intimidating and scary if that's the mindset we want to use. But if you think about it, it's just another creature here on the earth entitled to live here and enjoy whatever it enjoys doing. And so once you can get and shift to that mindset, like, what if I were the spider? Kind of exchange roles. Like, why would I be so afraid? I'm so much bigger, and in the worst case, if it nipped you or bit you, okay, it would hurt like hell, but then you're going to live, you're going to survive. I know there's some things like certain scorpions and that, which you might not. So you just be mindful of which ones are friendly and which ones might have venom. And, do your best to steer clear, but do not let that fear own you. right? So again, staying in our own power. And I keep doing this, but my goodness, we need one other card to change the energies. And so let's do this. We'll do one more romance one, and hopefully it's on a better note. Okay, here we go. Getting to know each other. Focus, please. Getting to know each other. Okay, let's see. We've got kind of an old-timey scene. Take from that what you will. Let's read this. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. Okay, well, I would just say, all right, well, that's self-explanatory. But I would say, watch the timing. This seems like maybe a romantic, I can't tell if that's some Victorian or Civil War type scene. But I would just say that watch where you are in that relationship. Yes, you want to reveal to yourselves, your innermost selves, and deepen that bond. But watch the timing. I would just say not too much too soon. Of course, just go as you're guided. But in that euphoria of that, initial getting to know each other, it's just also, anchor into your higher self and your intuition as much as you can in that process, to not let the emotions just sweep everything away. Okay, well, that's not really quite how I wanted it either, but I think I really will. So I hope something in here meant something to you. And you know what? I keep not saying what I'm going to do. Why not? I'm going to actually just do one of these intuitive things. I'm going to take the Smoky God book, and I'm just going to close my eyes and flip through with my left hand. Usually then I point with my right, but I'm holding the camera phone. So I just want to intuitively go to a word or phrase or passage that might mean something. And okay, I got to do it over because I did not realize I had a marker for something else in there. So let's do it over. Let's do over. Okay. And I'm going to blindly, my eyes are closed. I know you can't see. I'm feeling to go over here. And what we get is, within a fortnight, I was permitted to go about and take my place as one of the seamen. A little later, the captain asked me for an explanation. I told him that my experience had been so horrible, and I was fearful of my memory, and begged him to permit me to leave the question unanswered until sometime in the future. Okay, this really didn't lead me to what I wanted to see. However, it does talk about fear and memory. And I would just say that, again, it's a reminder to not be fearful of your memory, and of whatever comes up in life. Fear nothing. Okay, well, that's where, look at conclusion. Okay, it's the end of this reading. I wish all of you well. And again, I hope you got something out of here, if it was little or big. And I just wish you, as always, tremendous peace and love for today and always. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.